morning, this is Mrs. Mo. Today we are taking a little trip into my backyard. My backyard goes right up against Elm Creek Park Preserve. It's 5,000 acres in Hennepin County. And in Elm Creek Park we have an issue of an invasive species. Remember, an invasive species is a species that is not native to the habitat. It has been brought in by others, and it negatively affects the ecosystem in the area. In Elm Creek Park, the invasive species we have an issue with is called buckthorn. Buckthorn is a tree. It was originally brought to Minnesota in the mid-1800s. It was very popular to be used as a hedge. However, they stopped selling buckthorn in nurseries in the 1930s because they found out it was a very aggressive species and it started to take over local ecosystems. To identify a buckthorn, if we look at a buckthorn branch and leaves here you can see the leaves are egg-shaped. They come to a point. And they're called buckthorn because the branches have sharp thorns like that one right there. So when you walk through the woods with buckthorn, you do get all scratched up. Now, why is buckthorn a problem? Number one, it outcompetes native species for light, for moisture, for nutrients in the soil. They don't have any natural controls or limiting factors to control their growth. As a result, it will really decrease the biodiversity in an ecosystem. It also can contribute to erosion on the forest floor. If we go back a little ways, in our forest, the amount of small plants growing on the forest floor has really decreased since I have lived here. The buckthorn shades the light. The small plants cannot grow on the floor, and so as you can see, there's a lot of bare soil. So if this was on a hill or somewhere where water would run through frequently, it could really erode the surface because of the buckthorn. The other problem with buckthorn is that it can host other pests, and that can live on it. It's a safe place to live due to the thorns, and so it can affect the ecosystem in that manner as well. About 5 years ago, they tried to go through Elm Creek Park and get rid of the buckthorn. They spent a lot of money on this project. They used a lot of volunteers. What I would say is that I don't think it has been very successful. I would say about 50% of the trees growing along the edge of my lawn right now are still buckthorn. To remove buckthorn, what you do is, if it's small, you can just pull it out by the roots and they will not resprout. If it's bigger than 2 inches in diameter, you have to cut the tree about ground level and then apply a herbicide to prevent it from resprouting. However, buckthorn berries, they do produce berry-like clusters that ripen in September in Minnesota. The seeds in the berries, if they hit the ground, can remain viable, in other words, able to make a new buckthorn tree for up to 5 years, so you have to follow up if you want to get rid of the buckthorn. The park did not do that, and as you can see, 5 years later, the buckthorn is still in our backyard. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you learned a little bit about invasive species in Minnesota. Have a good day.